We are on the air. Pops, what time is it?
This is the greatest 3 weeks of NCAA basketball. And let me add, this could be the best 3 weeks of any sport, including the NFL, because this is a journey of 68 teams going for number one.
Okie dokie. Welcome one, welcome all. I am Mike, that is Pops, and this is the Big Dance Podcast, part one, which is titled Destination San Antonio. Obviously, San Antonio is the location of the Final Four this year, and that is where all 68 teams are trying to get to. Pops, are you ready to break down some brackets, give people some free betting advice, and make them some money out there?
All of my knowledge is to tell our listeners, whatever I say, don't do it.
Great, that's a great start. So we're going to go over a few things today. Number one, we are going to talk about some first round upsets. We're each going to pick two upsets in the first round that we think definitely could happen, should happen, and will happen. Next, we will move on to a topic I like to discuss with people from time to time. Coaches that annoy the piss out of me. Coaches that just whine, bitch, complain all game long, every game, for every single call. So that'll be the second topic.
Let me just add here. We will both have the same two coaches.
Yeah, we're going to pick two each. I have like 8 listed because I have to at least say, I won't say a lot of things about them, but I will say honorable mention for a few of them. And then finally, we're going to go over, obviously, our Final Four picks, who we think is going to be cutting down the nets in San Antonio and being called a national champion for the 2025 NCAA basketball season. Pops, let me start with you. I just want to know your initial thoughts on the bracket as it stands right now.
You mean all 4 of the brackets that were chosen?
Just give me your initial thoughts of when the bracket came out and maybe 15, 10 minutes of letting it sink in. What was going through your mind?
Well, the first thing that came to my mind is being a homer, okay, we got screwed. The last ratings came out for NCAA basketball, and Auburn went from number 1 to number 4, and the Gators went from number 4 to number 3. So that whole thing about Auburn had a solid number 1 is BS. Other than that, I thought everything was fair except for North Carolina. Should not have been in the Big Dance.
Absolutely not. They were 1-12, I believe, in Quad 1. The whole reason why they came up with the
quads.
Yeah, the quads was for the tournament. If you're 1-12 in Quad 1 games, which is pretty much tournament teams, you do not belong in the tournament. There's 3 or 4 teams.
I agree.
There's 3 or 4 teams, IU, Indiana, West Virginia, Ball State, or Boise State, just to name a few, that should have been picked over them, but that is neither here nor there. They are in. The reason they are in, for the most part, is the head of the selection committee, is the AD of North Carolina. Shocker how that works. But they're in. I look for them to win round 1 and possibly even round 2, just to kind of throw it in the people's faces. Oh, we shouldn't be in. It happens every single year. A bubble team that gets in that shouldn't usually makes a little noise. But first round upsets, let me say real quickly, I don't know if we got shafted or we got disrespected. Being a number 1 seed is pretty impressive. However, Auburn being the foregone conclusion as the number 1 overall seed for like the last 3 weeks is garbage. They're 28-5 is their record, I believe. The Gators are 30-4. We won the conference tournament. Now, Auburn won the regular season conference, but we also head-to-head beat them by 9 points in their house. And we were up by double digits in that game for most of the second half at Auburn. So we have a better record than them, and we beat them head-to-head in their place. Now, you look at Houston. Houston's been really good all year. Houston deserves a 1 seed, but Houston lost to Alabama and Auburn. And the Gators, against those two common opponents, are 3-0 on the year. Yes. So it is what it is. I threw that out there. Duke's probably, I don't know how Duke figures in there. I think Duke beat Auburn as well. But anyway, let's get to first round upsets. Pops, give me your first upset, and then I'll give one, then you give one, to look for in round one. I'm not talking about the first four. I want them to go back to 64 teams. That's a sidebar. But in the first round of the tournament, when it's 1 versus 16.
Let me say that everybody kind of looks at the 5-12. It's always been the traditional 5-12 upset. I don't have any 5-12 upsets. What I do have is a bunch of 7-10 upsets, okay? So let me start with the first one in the East. Vanderbilt, number 10, is going to beat St. Mary. I don't care what St. Mary did to Gonzaga. I don't care about their record. In the first round, a 10 will beat a 7, and that is the great SEC Vanderbilt will beat St. Mary.
Okay. I don't know. I don't know if a 10-7 game is what I was expecting from our upsets. I was thinking more of a 3-14, 4-13. I'm going to start with exactly what you didn't say. I have a 5 versus a 12. UC San Diego is a 12 seed against Michigan, who is a 5 seed. Michigan is only favored by that game by 2.5 points. Michigan against UC San Diego. Now, I'm going to mention Ken Palm real quick. We will go into Ken Palm a little bit later in this show. But Ken Palm is just a rating service that has proven over the last 25 years or so to be very good predicting outcomes of games and brackets and regions and champions. UC San Diego is 30th in the country in Ken Palm in defense. Okay? 30th. Not too bad for a team called UC San Diego. Michigan is 47th in Ken Palm in offense in the country. Michigan's going to have some trouble scoring against UC San Diego. So I have UC San Diego over Michigan. Who's your second one?
Well, wait a second. Let me just talk about that a little bit. You know, one of the things that they always talk about, I think the seeding was pretty damn good this year. I really do. I think the seeding was pretty good overall. But let's be honest. For the last, there hasn't been somebody that hasn't said that this year. For the last 25 to 30 years, no conference in the country has been stronger than the SEC from top to bottom. So if you put that into effect in the same way you put into effect the Big Ten against whatever the hell conference UC San Diego is playing, okay, come on, give me a break. I mean, you know what? It's always the bigger conferences that come through. So I will take 0 points. I will put $5 on a friendly father-son. I'm taking UC San Diego. I don't even know what their nickname is. Go UC San Diego, San Diegans, San Diegoites, San Diegans. I don't care. They're beating the Wolverines. All right, what's your and $5 is coming to me after that game. Go ahead. You can send that to me anytime you want before the thing starts. All right. I'm going to go to the West, okay? And I've got another 10-7. I got another SEC team, Arkansas, with John Calipari.
Yes.
Again, Bill Self and the Kansas Jayhawks. The Kansas Jayhawks are nowhere near what the Jayhawks have been in the past. So, What I'm saying is, yes, the SEC will prevail, and Arkansas will beat Kansas.
All right, I think that's one of the best first-round matchups for sure. I'm not even sure that's seeding-wise, that would be an upset.
Right.
Kansas has definitely the history. Arkansas in the 90s was elite and won a national title, but Kansas overall, with Bill Self and their 5 stars all over the court, Arkansas brings a lot of transfers over with Calipari from Kentucky. That'll be a great game to watch. I don't really have a comment on that or a bet on that, so I'll move on to mine. I don't know what region this is in our region. So this is in the West. I have another 12 upsetting another 5. I have Colorado State, the Rams. I know they're. We'll bet $5 on this one as well. Colorado State.
You're on.
All right. Colorado State Rams over the number 5 seed Memphis Tigers of Penny Hardaway. Colorado State is favored by 2.5 points in this game, Pops.
Yeah,
It's a 12 over a 5. Part of the reason is Memphis in the Ken Palm is only ranked 72nd in the country in offensive efficiency rating.
Yeah,
So
we'll see.
yeah. So we got $5 on that one too. So a couple things to look for in other games. I like the Grizzlies over number 3 Wisconsin. What do you think about that one? I'm not betting on that one. Drake over Missouri has gotten a lot of play in the press. The Akron Zips.
I got Utah State. I got Utah State over UCLA.
What are the seedings there?
10-7.
I mean, you're not really going out on a limb here.
Because I don't think there's this 5-12 thing is not going to happen this year.
All right, we'll see.
$10 says it's not happening.
Well, we're going to find out with those two 5-12s. I'll just go over these real quickly so I can look really good after this. Look for Montana a 14 to win, Drake an 11 to win over Missouri. UC San Diego is definitely beating Michigan. Colorado State, a 12 seed, is going to beat Memphis. Look for Troy to give Kentucky some trouble. I don't think Mark Pope, the head coach of Kentucky, is ready for the tournament yet, just my opinion. And then look for the Akron Zips to give Arizona Wildcats a game. All right. So
can I just say, after listening to that, can I just say, this reminds me so much of the day of picking our team for the Fantasy Football League.
I don't want to talk about fantasy football on this podcast.
It sounds like this guy. Yeah, no.
All of a sudden, I'm very upset and I'm pissed off. I hated our first round pick. I hated our second round pick. I hated our third round pick. I hated our fourth round pick. So let's move on. Annoying coaches. Our second segment of the day. Annoying coaches that bring their whining, bitching, complaining to every single game for every single call, undress the refs whenever they can, demean their own players whenever they can on camera. Who do you got number 1?
Well, this would be if you asked America, who's the most annoying coach in the NCAA? It's BP, Bruce Pearl. By far, the most annoying moron of all time.
It just looks like his blood pressure is so high for every second of the game. He's always yelling at the refs, and he's always like saying something to his teammates, and his veins are always popping out. True. It's tough to watch him on the sidelines. He's sweating like a banshee. Now, he looks like he's in good shape. Good for him. But you know who he also reminds me of? Which will be honorable mention. This isn't mine. Buzz Williams of Texas A&M. Both those two guys are stocky. They're really intense. But my number 1 is somebody that I hope that we see in the second round, Pops. His name is none other than Danny Hurley. This guy, I don't even have the words to properly express my disdain, my utter disdain for his presence on the camera, on the sidelines. He has won 2 in a row. He has done so with a basketball powerhouse. It's not easy to do anywhere. But his arrogance, there's not even a word. Whatever's above arrogance, he's above that.
What coach do you know of that on the opposing, when he's at an opposing place, waves to the fans? Yeah, come on, bring it on. Wave to the fans. What a piece of work that guy is.
Yeah. And earlier in the year, he was caught on camera saying to a referee, "Don't you turn your back on me. I'm the best coach in the effing sport." He was caught on camera. He was questioned about it after the game and kind of wiggled out of that question. Hey, best coach in the sport? you might not be the best coach on your campus. Have you looked across the hall at Mr. Gino Oriema? He's got a few titles, sir. You're a good coach. You're a good recruiter. You know what you're doing. But get over yourself, Danny Hurley, and your brother, Bobby Hurley, who the Gators took down earlier in the year. Those two, I saw a clip earlier today, Pops, with those two were coaching. I forgot to look up what the school was. They were both coaching together. I believe Danny was the head coach. Bobby was his assistant. I would not be able to ref that game. If I was a ref and I walked in with those two guys on the bench, nope, I'm done. I quit. I'll go back to waiting on tables. All right, who's your second guy?
Well, we know this one very, very, very familiar to us, and he's now coaching Arkansas, John Carapelli. I mean, come on. I mean, the looks.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, give me a break with this Calipari guy.
Look
I mean,
for this.
it's like,
He's always doing this, too. It's like he's got lipstick on.
Calipari thinks he's the greatest coach since God. And he thinks that he brings in all of these great, I bring in all the 5-star players.
He does.
Last 1 year, I got more players in the NBA than any other coach. Well, that's true. But how many titles have you won, pal? One.
He's won one. And every interview he does, it's almost like he thinks he's teaching a class to not only the interviewer, but to America. And to look in the camera and just and Saban's got that kind of thing too. However, Saban has some credibility to do that. I don't think Coach Cal does. My second one, I'm going to go with Tom Izzo.
Another guy.
I loathe him. Loathe. Look it up when you get a chance. I loathe him. It's the Michigan State way. He'll have arguments with his players. They'll push each other. And then in press conferences, that's just the Michigan State way. All right. You've won, again, another dude. You've won one title. It was in 2000. I'll get to that later. But it's been, what have you been there? 30 years you've won one title? Get over yourself. You're a great coach. But I don't like him either. So you said Bruce Pearl and
John
Coach Cal.
Calipari.
Yeah. And so Bruce Pearl and Coach Cal were yours. Mine was Izzo and Danny Hurley. And honorable mention goes to Rick Pitino. Honorable mention goes to Rick Barnes of Tennessee. He looks like he should possibly be the president of the country or possibly a senator, given how old he is and how ancient he looks and how much trouble it takes for him to get to the bench.
You mentioned him already for my third guy, okay? What coach today comes out in a 3-piece suit? I mean, really,
Buzz Williams?
Come on, Buzz. With the 3-piece suit, and then he takes it off and he's sweating half to death. Who cares, Buzz?
All for effect, I think, taking off one layer at a time. As much
Buzz
as that
never should have left. Buzz never should have left Marquette.
He was at I thought he was at Virginia Tech.
He first Marquette.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's probably true. Yeah, so that's a long list of people we just don't like, and we'll be seeing them on our TV screens for sure because a bunch of them are coaching very good teams once again. All right, let's get into our final segment, Pops. Let's tell America out there who is going to be competing in the Final Four. I want your Final Four right now, breaking it down by region. I don't want the winners of the Final Four games. I just want you to tell me your Final Four and just a brief little synopsis of why you picked each team.
Well, there's a theme. There's a theme for me, okay? And the theme is, it's all SEC, baby. It's all SEC.
The entire Final Four?
I am telling you right now, the cream is rising to the top, and we are going to have all 4 teams.
Oh, okay. I mean, that's a big prediction.
Are you ready? Are you ready?
Yep.
For the South, I got Texas A&M.
Okay. All right. They play some very, very good defense at A&M.
Yes, they do. And for the West, I have the Florida Gators.
Okay. I like that pick. For some reason, I like that pick. Pops, I wanted to show America my fit check for the episode. You gave me this as a gift on the back, there's a bunch of stuff. Sorry, that was my ass, too. I just gave you an ass shot. This was a jersey the Gators wore the last time they won it all, was that jersey. Okay, so you got Texas A&M in the South and Florida in the West. They'll be playing each other in the Final Four in your bracket. What else?
No, in the East. In the East and the Midwest, I have two number 2s.
Yep.
So in the East, I have Alabama.
Yep.
And in the Midwest, I have Tennessee. So you have the Final Four, Texas A&M playing Florida, and Alabama playing Tennessee.
Well, that is, you are leaning into the SEC this year. Everyone has said that this is one of the best conferences to ever be assembled. Now, obviously, the combining of conferences, the Pac-12 was dissolved, basically.
Well, let me just add this one thing before you give me your 4. It's all premised on the fact that the SEC teams learn in game 1, we can't play the same way we played in the SEC this year in the NCAA tournament as far as roughness, because there was not a tougher conference of, we all would say the same thing. That was a foul. That was a foul. That was a foul. But they let them play. And you have the toughest teams in America playing in the SEC. So if they learn in game 1, they can't play it that way. Just play with the way you play as far as defense. I mean, if you look at the list of teams on the NCAA top 25 teams, they're all SEC in defense and offense. They're all there. I mean, it's like ridiculous.
Yeah. I will say that 14 teams, I don't care how many teams are in our conference, 16. We have 16 teams, 14 out of 16 made
sir.
If you're the 13th or 14th ranked team in your own conference, I don't think you should have a chance to win the national title. That's just me, whatever. All right, so before I give my Final 4, I want to go over the Ken Pom a little bit in depth here quickly. Since 2001, Ken Pomeroy, I believe his name, he's genius that came up with a system for ranking teams on offensive efficiency and defensive efficiency. Since 2001, every single national champion in the NCAA men's tournament has come, the team that has won has been in the top 21 in Ken Pom offense and the top 31 of Ken Pom defense in that season. It's pretty obvious, yes, a team that's good at offense and defense is probably going to win it all. But with that metric this year, there are 8 teams in that metric. Every single year for the last 25 years, someone in that top 21 in offense, top 31 in defense has won. There are 8 teams this year that qualify. Auburn, Florida, Duke, Houston, Tennessee, Wisconsin, Iowa State, and Gonzaga are all teams that are within those parameters. So there is a huge chance that one of those 8 teams is going to win it all. I have decided my Final 4 picks are as follows. I have 2 number 1s and 2 number 2s in the Final 4. So kind of chalky. I'm going kind of chalky. In the South, I will start with the South. You at Texas A&M. I am taking Michigan State to come out of the South with Tom Izzo. We have both overlooked Auburn in that region. I have overlooked them because they're 1-3 in their last 4 games. I saw Tennessee handle them. I saw Florida handle them. And we handled Tennessee. So I'm going Michigan State. I think it's the 25th anniversary of Michigan State winning it all in 2000. I think that'll be brought up a little bit. Okay. In the West, I have our Florida Gators. We've watched them play all year. We both love this team. They love each other. They are always rooting for each other. They are number 1 in Ken Pom for offensive efficiency in the country. Number 1. And then number 10 in defense. So we're right up there. So that's my West. In the East, I have Alabama as well. I have Alabama overcoming Duke. I don't know how Duke is going to play with Cooper Flagg. Now, he's got a sprained ankle, which you can't play with if it's not a high ankle sprain, which I don't think it is. However, I don't know how many times that dude's been hurt. I don't know if he's going to favor a bunch of other things. I don't know how much Duke was actually tested in their ACC, which is usually an incredible conference, was not this year. The ACC was not. So I don't know how Duke is going to do, but I got Alabama coming out of the East. In the Midwest, you had Tennessee. I'm going Houston. And the reason I'm going Houston is that Kelvin Sampson, Mr. Cheater himself, has been knocking on the door the last couple of years, and I think this is the team that gets over the top. They are number 2 in Ken Palm defensive efficiency while being 10 on offense. So they're pretty much the reverse of the Gators. And the Final Four is in San Antonio, only a 3-hour drive from Houston. So I have Michigan State against Florida. I have Alabama against Houston in my Final Four. So without further ado, I'm going to ask you your final matchup and who's going to win it all. Pops.
Well, my final matchup is a matchup that's been had 3 times before. The Florida Gators against the Tennessee Vols. So this will be the 4th time this year we're playing them, and the Florida Gators will prevail and win their 3rd national title.
Wow. Chomp, chomp. So you really liked what you saw of Tennessee.
I think they're one of the best defensive teams in the country. What happened to them the other night was we got under their skin a little bit. They made some stupid fouls. The great thing about the Florida Gators, and we've said this all year long, they love each other. It's so true, but we go 9 deep. There's not a problem with bringing the 9th guy off the bench. He'll throw up a 3. I mean, it's unbelievable. Every game, it's somebody different. Whether it's Richard, whether it's Martin, whether it's Clayton, whether it's Hawk, maybe anybody. I mean, it's any of these guys can come and play. I mean, it was great that Micah decided to lift the thing and come and play because we just got another center. And Shin has been playing his heart out for the last 10 games. I mean, this guy's given everything he's got. He's got a nice little push to the basket. I just think we're loaded, and I think that it's too much. But Tennessee, as you said earlier in the year, probably is one of the best defensive teams in the country, man-to-man, in a zone. They just can play very, very well. I just think that we're just that much better than they are.
Yeah, I agree with just about everything you said, which makes me want to go to therapy again. What is that, scotch over there? So Tennessee, you are correct. Number 3 overall in the defensive efficiency in Ken Palm. Not on that list of top 8 teams. The number 1 team in defensive efficiency, according to Ken Palm, unfortunately, is St. John's, who is in our region, who might give us some trouble. But
No.
So you have Florida beating Tennessee to win it all. Before I go into my final predictions, I want to tell you I'm going to be rooting for the Gators, obviously, to win it all, to keep surviving and advancing, keep moving on. Not only do I want that to happen, Pops, there's a certain way I want it to happen because the NCAA has a great way of making storylines every single year of maybe rematches or coaches from schools that went to other schools. In round 1, we play Norfolk State. I could not find anything about Norfolk State that pissed me off. I just want to beat them. We're favored by 28.5. They've got a couple of really good guards. One of their guards is averaging 18.4 points per game and 54.6% field goal percentage. They average 7 steals a game. So they will press us, and they will put our lack of a non-true point guard to the test. But we're favored by 28.5. I don't think we should have a problem. Moving on, I want UConn to win.
Me too.
I hate Danny Hurley. I want to go through him like we went through his brother earlier in the year. And then I want to see him shake Todd Golden's hand, and I hope Todd Golden outcoaches him in that game. Next up, I want to play Memphis. Why? I just don't like Penny Hardaway. He's a cheat. It was proven that he was cheating. I don't like looking at his face, so I want to beat Memphis. Nothing other than that. Then, in the Elite 8, I would like to play St. John's, Pops. I want to beat St. John's for one specific reason. Rick
Yeah.
Pitino. Rick Pitino at one point was a mentor to Billy Donovan of Gators fame. He coached Billy Donovan. Billy Donovan later came to his assistant coaching, box and coached with him in Kentucky. Rick Pitino once told Billy Donovan, do not go to Florida. You cannot get top talent there. You cannot win a national title of Florida. Billy Donovan was absolutely told that by Rick Pitino. Had Billy Donovan listened to him, we would not be doing this podcast. We would not be a number one seed. We would not have 2 national titles back to back under our belts and looking for national title number 3. So I want Rick Pitino to pay the price for that. Moving on. Then I want to go.
Go ahead.
Just let me finish up. Then I want to play Michigan State in the Final Four. I want to beat the hell out of Tom Izzo in the Final Four. Why? Because in 2000, he gave Billy Donovan his first, and Florida, its first loss in its first national title game in 2000. I want to avenge that game 25 years later. Then I'm going to say that Florida is playing Alabama in the finals. I want to take down Alabama because they've been a football school kicking our ass for the last 15 years, winning national titles over there. I can't let them have basketball as well. So I want Alabama and Nate Oates and Sears and all those a-holes to get to the absolute brink of elation with a national title. I would like to beat them at the buzzer and just crush all their national championship dreams. That's what I'm saying, Pops. Florida over Alabama in the final on a buzzer beater.
There's one more thing, and I agree with you 1,000%. The other thing I want to talk about.
I just got really fired up there.
Is St. John's and Rick Pitino. I wonder who his guard was at Iona for a couple of years. That decided to leave. He decided to leave, and I guess he picked Florida, and I guess he's a All-American first-team guy, Clayton Jr. Great
pull there, Pops. Walter Clayton Jr. was really highly touted out of high school to play football.
Yes, sir. Quarterback.
Teams like quarterback by Notre Dame, by Florida State, by Florida. He did not want to play football. He wanted to play basketball, where he wasn't very highly recruited. Went to Iona, where Rick Pitino was. Rick Pitino does well with him. Rick Pitino gets them to the tournament. He then gets a promotion to go to St. John's. I'm pretty sure he begged Walter Clayton to come with him. And he did not go. He went to Florida. Now, obviously, he's from Florida, so that was a huge factor. He probably loved Golden. But, yeah, that's a great storyline to follow if we play them in the Elite Eight. Final thoughts, Pops? Any final thoughts?
This is, like I said, this is the best 3 weeks of sports. I'm telling you, it is. You got a journey for 68 teams. 68 teams, they have a chance. Before the ball's thrown up, you got 68 teams. What other sport do you have 68 teams get a chance to go for a national title? I mean, it's unheard of. And the great thing about this is people that don't even play or even watch basketball are all playing in the pool. They're all inside. They're all saying, "Let's go. I'll put my money down." And then every day they're looking. Some of them pick it by, well, what's their mascot? Is the alligator against lion? I'll take the alligator. I mean, they'll just whatever. They don't know basketball. But this 68 teams, starting tonight, everyone has a chance and has a dream to be number one.
Right, and any team can win. You can't vote them out. You can't. If you see San Diego or somebody somehow gets to the Final Four, you can't vote them out. You got to play the games. And if they win the title, they win the title. Butler was so close years back. At some point, a mid-major is going to win the whole thing.
Gonzaga, they were close. Every year they're there. Every single year they're, and they came to the final game and just couldn't get it done.
I think a couple times. So I'm doing a bracket pool. Any of you out there want to participate, you just DM me, instant message me or whatever, and I'll give you the details out there.
You only got a few hours to do this.
Well, right. We're going to be broadcasting this on Wednesday. The brackets are going to be due by Thursday morning because they don't really count the first four games. Pops, I can't wait. It's going to be great. This was the Big Dance podcast with Mike and Pops. This was part 1, Destination San Antonio, which is the Final Four site, which all these teams are trying to get to. I'm hoping this is a 3-parter, Pops. I want there to be a part 2 where we break down the Sweet 16 next week, same time. I want there to be a part 3 where we're breaking down the Final Four, in 2 weeks. And hopefully our team is there still having their shining moments.
Let me just say this. You said it a couple weeks ago. I want banners. We got 1 of 3. We won the SEC title.
Yep.
The next one will be the Final Four banner and then the championship. So we need to see 3 banners.
No doubt about it. It's all about chasing those banners. So until next week, which is hopefully we're going to be doing a part 2, breaking down who the Gators are playing in the Sweet 16. I'm Mike. That is Pops. This was the Big Dance podcast. As always, come on, Gators.
Get up and go.
Go Gators.